We live in extraordinary, indeed frightening times. Over 780,000 people had contracted coronavirus worldwide, and of these, 38,000 have already died. Times like this call for serious introspection to find out from the Lord what exactly is going on now. There are different ways of inquiring of the Lord. One of them is through prayer and prophecy. But there is also a second way, and this is through looking through what has been prophesied in the past, particularly from the scriptures. Making inquiries like this are not new. They are very, very biblical. Of course, it's important to know how to make such inquiries. It's very important to know how to ask such questions and when not to ask them. For instance, we read in the scriptures of the case of Zechariah. This is in Luke chapter 1 from verse 5. There was a priest called Zechariah. His wife Elizabeth was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were righteous in the sight of God, but they were childless, and they were both very old. Once, when Zechariah's vision was on duty and he was serving as priest before God, an angel of the Lord appeared to him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to call him John." But Zechariah asked a question. "How can I be sure of this?" he said. "I'm an old man and my wife is well along in years." What lesson do we learn from this? Well, in the case of Zechariah, he ought to have known better. He was a priest. He had been praying for a child. He had been seeking for a child. So when the angel came, he should have just rejoiced rather than ask unnecessary questions. So in his own case, the inquiry was absolutely uncalled for. But let's take another example. In Exodus chapter 3, we read concerning Moses. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, "I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up." So here is another example of a person who sees something strange and goes to make inquiry. Now, in the case of Moses, of course, we know he didn't get into trouble for his inquiry. He saw something unusual. He naturally was inquisitive. He made inquiry, and the Lord spoke to him out of the burning bush. There are several other examples in the scriptures. Very strange events are happening in our time. We need to ask questions. We need to say, what is really going on? What is happening? What does this thing signify? How does this begin to tally with the faith that we have in the Lord? What does it tell us about the events around and about us? Now, our world had been very settled. Everything had been peaceful. Everything had been going normally. We got used to the normal way of living, and everybody had been living his own life, rich or poor, able or unable. We were able to manage our affairs, and things were going as we expected. But then there was an unexpected interruption by coronavirus. all of a sudden, people are becoming ill, not just in one corner of the world, but all over the world. Not just one group of people, one race of people, but all races. Not just the rich, but also the poor. Everybody is being affected and afflicted by this virus, and many are dying. And the rate of spread is such that it's unpredictable which way it will go. So there is a very big unexpected interruption. This is the time for us to open our scriptures, search the scriptures, and see what it is saying about the times we are passing through. This is not a time to just fold our hands and keep quiet. This is not a time to just pray. Yes, we need to pray, but we need to investigate. This is a time when Jesus says, watch and pray. You have to watch first. You have to know what is going on. You have to find out what the situation is, because our situation has been altered. Something strange is going on. We need to make a serious investigation. And then based upon that investigation is a time for action. And that is the basis of this message. It is time for us to investigate. It is time for us to search the scriptures. It is time for us to ask questions. It is time for us to say, what in the world is going on? And by the grace of God, we will begin that in our next talk. God bless you.